Lee Haney at the 1991 Mr. Olympia versus Flex Wheeler at the 1993 Mr. Olympia, when he came out of nowhere to place second to a very powerful Dorian Yates. I've already compared Lee to Dorian at the 1991 Mr. Olympia and thought that it would be nice to make this matchup, so let's get started. The front double biceps shows that Flex has the better biceps overall. Actually, Flex had among the best biceps in the 90s, and that's even before he arguably enhanced them with synthol. Lee was not known for having powerful arms as much as he was known for having powerful chest and back. They both hit an impressive and aesthetic V-taper, making use of their wide lats and small waist, with Lee hitting the vacuum pose. I like the sweep in Lee's lats, which are wider and denser, and we will see that in the front and the rear lat poses. Now, regardless of the difference in the photo's measurements, this shot shows that Flex definitely has the better biceps, but Lee has the wider lats and the small waist, which gives him this unique pose. I like Flex arms more, but I like Lee's pose more. If I were to decide, then I would go with Flex, but would absolutely accept Lee winning this pose too. Lee would win the front lat spread. He hits an impressive pose, making use of the width and the density of his lats. He looks proportioned and symmetrical with his wide shoulders and rounded chest. Flex lats are not that wide or symmetrical, and we will see that in the rear pose. Nevertheless, he shows phenomenal conditioning and separation, especially in the quads area. Lee, in my opinion, would win the side chest pose. He had the more massive and the denser chest. He shows incredible conditioning and muscles maturity with visible striations. Flex looks very proportioned in this pose and shows great separation in his shoulders and arms, but Lee has the better chest and would win this pose in my opinion. Flex used to hit a phenomenal back double biceps, showing the deepest lines possible in his lats area. He has the more shredded and ripped back overall. Lee might be wider but does not look as hard. You can go back to the show and see them posing. Flex definitely had the better conditioned back, and it shows in these shots. Although smaller, Flex is more proportioned and symmetrical. Look at the striations in his straps and the details he shows in his rear delts and lats. His hamstrings, though, were among his weakest areas. Lee did not have the best hamstrings either, but overall, I would go with Flex in this pose. Lee would win the rear lat spread for having the wider and the denser lats. This pose might be among Flex's least impressive poses. Although he shows impressive conditioning, he lacks the size and the density to match the likes of Lee. The side triceps shots are very scarce for Flex from this contest, but this picture would give us an idea about his triceps, which actually were massive and ripped. Lee, on the other hand, hits a very impressive pose, showing phenomenal details in his upper physique. Notice how dense his chest was, but after watching them posing, I believe that Flex had the better triceps overall. Another shot for Flex from the 1992 USA Championships, which shows how genetically gifted this bodybuilder was. Notice how aesthetic and symmetrical he looks with his rounded and full shoulders, massive and ripped arms, tight midsection and phenomenal abs. Flex would definitely win the abs and thighs. He had among the best abs from the 90s in comparison with those of Dorian, Ronnie or Lee, whose midsection might be among his least impressive areas. Notice the size and the definition Flex shows in his arms and the separation he shows in his quads. The most muscular shows that Lee might be bigger overall and has the wider chest, but Flex has the better shoulders and arms, and the more aesthetic and better ripped midsection. Notice the difference in the arm size in favor of Flex, regardless of the difference in the photo's measurements. So Lee, in my opinion, would win the front lat spread, the side chest, and the rear lat spread, while Flex would win the back double biceps, the side triceps, and the abs and thighs. I lean more towards Flex in the front double biceps because he has the better arms, but Lee has the wider lats. I also like Flex more in the most muscular for having the better shoulders and arms. Lee, however, looks dominant in the crab pose, but unfortunately, I could not find crab poses for Flex from that year to make a valid comparison. So whether he had nothing left to prove after winning the Olympia title for 8 times, or whether he sensed that a more powerful breed was coming on the way that might be able to defeat him on stage, Lee Haney will always be one of the greatest and the most respected bodybuilders ever. Let me know what you think about this matchup, and don't forget to check the annotation. Thanks for watching and have a nice one.